artificial chromosome. So we have already learned about bacterial artificial chromosome, isn't it? So in this session, this is the next continuation class for bacterial artificial chromosome. So this is one of the vector, that is nothing but YAC, already we have learned about different types of vectors under this YAC. YAC is yeast artificial chromosome. So in the previous session, already we have discussed about BAC, isn't it? So bacterial artificial chromosome is generally used to insert your target DNA molecule of around 100 to 300 bases, isn't it? So it is simply used to insert your target, a little bit big sized DNA target molecule, gene of interest, isn't it? So now coming to YAC, already we have discussed about shuttle vectors. So what are shuttle vectors? Shuttle vectors are those vectors which are having the capacity to get easily propagate in both eukaryotes and in prokaryotes, right? So these shuttle vectors are designed in such a way that they can easily propagate in both prokaryotes and in eukaryotes, that is in both bacteria and as well as in your eukaryotes, that is nothing but your yeast. So coming to yeast artificial chromosome, so this type of vector is designed in such a way that it can carry your DNA molecule of around 200 to 2000 kilo base pairs of DNA molecule. So this is having the capacity of carrying your DNA molecule of around 200 to 2000 kilo base pairs of the DNA molecule in your host organism. So generally in YAC, the host organism is nothing but your yeast, and it is having some properties similar to your shuttle vector. So the features of your YAC are similar to shuttle vectors. The features of your YAC are similar to your shuttle vectors. So these are those vectors which are designed by the improved model of your plasmid vector, that is PBR 322. So the improved model of PBR 322, the modified model of PBR 322 is nothing but your YAC. So YAC is designed in such a way that this PBR 322, the improved model, the sophisticated model of your vector is inserted with several features, is constructed with several features that it can easily propagate in your yeast. So that is nothing but YAC. So this YAC, as I said earlier, it is having the features like your shuttle vectors. So now coming to the features, how it is designed, your YAC, what is the construction, how it is constructed, the vector, how it is constructed is now we will discuss in this session. So this is your YAC, this is your yeast artificial chromosome. This, as I said earlier, this is having some properties similar to your shuttle vectors. So basing on that property, it should easily propagate both in your bacteria as well as in your yeast, that is both in prokaryote and in eukaryote. So if you observe it keenly, then this YAC is constructed with ORIC site of bacteria. So this is the ORIC site. Generally all your vectors should possess three important properties, that is ORIC site for self-replication purpose. Next is your multiple cloning sites for to be get easily targeted with different types of restriction endonucleases. And next is your selectable markers, isn't it? So these are the three important factors that a vector should possess, isn't it, for a good ideal vector. So all these three properties should be easily get obeyed with this particular YAC also. And one more point, this YAC should have the property of shuttle vectors. Means it should this vector should propagate both in bacteria as well as in your yeast, that is in your eukaryotes also. So this is something like complicated. So this complication can easily run down here. So coming to the YAC, it is designed with the ORIC site of your bacteria as well ORIC site of your yeast. So both of them, the first point is notified. So the ORIC site of bacteria as well the ORIC site of yeast. Next, the selectable marker, that is amplicin resistance of your bacteria. This is the selectable marker of your bacteria, isn't it? Now the selectable marker, that is SUP4 gene of your yeast, suppressor 4 gene. So this is a selectable marker gene of your bacteria as well as in your yeast. Next, multiple cloning sequence, that is multiple cloning sites. So MRS, multiple restriction site, is same in both yeast and as well as in your bacteria. So in both the enzymes, both your bacterial restriction nuclease, your bacterial plasmid vector and your yeast vector is easily get cleaved with your different restrictions as nucleases, isn't it? So the restriction MCS, the multiple cloning sequences, that is where your target DNA molecule should be get inserted, is same for your bacteria as well as your yeast. So next is your telomeric sequence. So this is designed in such a way that this yeast is having a telomeric sequence. The importance of a telomeric sequence is used for stability of any chromosome in your eukaryotes, so that it cannot be easily get identified by any other nucleases. So it won't get destroyed. The ends may not be get destroyed, the free ends of your YAC, isn't it? So next it is having another feature, that it is having the property to be get easily cleaved with BAM H1 endonuclease. So besides your telomeric sequence, so this is having the property, this YAC is having a feature that it can be easily cleaved with BAM H1 endonuclease, as well in between your telomeric sequence stuffer DNA is also present. This stuffer DNA is not having any importance, this is not important, but the presence of stuffer DNA is present. As well, besides to your ORIC site of your yeast, ARS is nothing but autonomous replicating sequence is also present. Already we have learned about ARS in your shuttle vector. So this is designed similar to your shuttle vector with the added quality of SUP4 gene and telomeric sequence and stuffer DNA with a BAM H1 restriction endonuclease site, isn't it? The YAC is designed in such a way that same to your shuttle vector, added with a SUP4 gene and a telomeric sequence and BAM H1 sites and stuffer DNA. So these are the different features of present in your YAC. So now coming to the actual working of your YAC. So how it is being worked. So when this particular YAC is treated with restriction endonucleases, that is nothing but BAM H1. So this is having a property to be get easily cleaved with BAM H1 restriction endonuclease, isn't it? So when this YAC is treated with BAM H1 enzyme, then this particular YAC is cleaved here. So there are two sites here, this BAM H1. When this YAC is treated with BAM H1, this particular circularized YAC is getting opened. So this is in a linear YAC model. So that is your linear YAC. Okay. So in between telomere, there is a site where the BAM H1 gets easily cleaves your YAC in both the sides. Then what happens? This is your open linear form of YAC. So this stuffer DNA is removed. So this is not much important. So removal of stuffer DNA. So after addition of BAM H1 to this YAC, so this is your linear YAC after treating with your BAM H1. So these are the telomeric ends of YAC, amplicin resistance and your ORIC of bacteria, centromere, that is nothing but autonomous replicating sequence of your yeast and ORIC of yeast, SUP4 gene of your yeast, and here there are multiple, not here, sorry, here there is your multiple restriction sequence. This is your multiple restriction sites, MCS. So this is nothing but MCS. isn't it? NCS. So nearer to your subfortune. So this is your linear model of your yak after treatment with balm H1. So this is your linear yak and this is your circular yak. So this circular yak, when it is treated with balm H1, see once again I am repeating, this yak when it is treated with balm H1 enzymes, then it gets cleaved. So after removal of your stuffer DNA, then this is your linear yak. So this linear yak is should be get inserted with your target DNA. When this linear yak, this yak is to be get inserted with your target DNA molecule with a size of around 200 to 2000 kb, isn't it? So it can carry, this is a vector which can carry a target DNA molecule of size 200 to 2000 kb, isn't it? So when this, how this insertion is done, so how this target DNA molecule is inserted in your linear yak, so this should be treated with restriction endonucleases. So when it is treated with restriction endonucleases, simply these restriction endonucleases will go and cleave on your NCS site, isn't it? As this is your multiple cloning sequences. So these these restriction endonucleases will go and cleave on your multiple cloning sequences. So after cleaving your this particular restriction endonucleases, when go and attack on this particular NCS, then what happened? Here, after cleaving up with your restriction endonucleases, so there is a break, and here your target DNA molecule is inserted. See, so this is your multiple cloning sequence, and after cleaving with your restriction endonuclease, your target DNA molecule is inserted. So this is your target DNA molecule. So this is your target DNA molecule, isn't it? So this is your target DNA molecule of 200 to 2000 kb. Target DNA molecule. So generally, where is your target DNA molecule will go and sit on your particular vector where it is having its multiple cloning sequences, isn't it? So this is your multiple cloning sequence. When this multiple cloning, when this particular vector is treated with restriction endonucleases, so these restriction endonucleases are having sequence to be get cleaved on this particular NCS site, isn't it? So over there, when this restriction endonuclease will go and cleave your plasmid DNA, sorry, your yak, then here your target DNA molecule will go and sit on your yak. So this is your target DNA molecule. So the insertion of your target DNA molecule is in such a way that your sub4 gene is totally disrupted. So this sub4 gene and your multiple cloning sequences are both overlapping with one another. So when your restriction nucleases will go and cleave on this particular NCS sequence, then obviously your sub4 gene is also getting disrupted. So there is no sub4 gene. The sub4 gene is totally disrupted, and hence your target DNA molecule will go and sit on your your gap in between ORC site of yeast and to your telomeric sequence. So the sub4 gene is totally disrupted. So this totally your vector DNA, that is your YAP DNA plus your target DNA, that is nothing but your gene of interest. This is your YAP vector, isn't it? So this is nothing but rDNA molecule. So this rDNA molecule, the total rDNA molecule should be get easily propagated with your yeast. This is your yeast, and this particular rDNA molecule should get easily integrated or propagated in your yeast. So this insertion of your rDNA molecule, that is your vector DNA plus your target DNA molecule, cannot easily get integrated with your yeast. So this is your yeast. So the host organism is yeast. So this rDNA molecule should get easily integrated with your yeast. But the insertion of your rDNA molecule in the yeast is very difficult. Why? Because the yeast itself is having a tough cell wall. As yeast is having a tough cell wall, the transformation of your target DNA molecule inside the yeast should be done through electroporation. So, the insertion of target DNA molecule, that is your rDNA molecule, that is your vector DNA, that is YAP DNA plus your target DNA molecule, that is rDNA molecule, chimeric DNA molecule should be get easily inserted in your host organism, isn't it? So that is the main principle of a vector. So here the host is your yeast. So this is your yeast. So this yeast should easily get inserted with your chimeric DNA molecule, that is your rDNA molecule. How this insertion is done? Only with the help of your electroporation technique. Why? Because yeast cell wall is very tough. So this cell wall disruption, only once the yeast cell wall is getting disrupted, then only your chimeric DNA molecule can easily get inserted in your yeast, isn't it? So for easy insertion, it should be treated with the yeast cell wall should be treated with electroporation. After treatment with electroporation, the chimeric DNA molecule will get easily inserted in your yeast. So this insertion, after insertion, when this particular yeast is left for several colonies, then you can see in a Petri plate, when this yeast is left for several colonies, for several generations, you can see colonies with red color and several colonies with white color. So the red color indicates that colonies indicates that the yeast is having your target DNA molecule, that is gene of interest is present in the red color colonies of your yeast, and white color colonies indicates that here no gene of interest, that is your target DNA molecule is not present here, but in your red color colonies the yeast is carrying your target DNA molecule. So why this difference is observed is the suppressor gene, so that is your selectable marker for yeast. So when your target DNA molecule will go and sit on your SUP4 gene, then what happens? This gives actually this suppress your red color, isn't it? When your target DNA molecule will go and sit on your SUP4 gene, then no red color colonies are observed, which indicates that it is having your target DNA molecule. So white color colonies indicates that here this SUP4, as I said earlier, it suppresses your red color. So when there is no rDNA molecule is inserted on this SUP4 gene, when there is no transformation is observed, then the white color colonies indicates that SUP4 gene is present. So presence of SUP4 gene means no target DNA molecule. No gene of interest. So here presence of SUP4 gene. White color colonies indicates that SUP4 gene, presence of SUP4 gene. Red color colonies indicates that absence of SUP4 gene. Okay, so this is the working of your selection of your target DNA molecule in yeast. Okay, absence of SUP4 gene. Red color indicates absence of SUP4 gene, that is gene of interest is present. White color colonies indicates presence of SUP4 gene, that is no target DNA molecule is inserted over here. So this is the working of YAP, that is yeast artificial chromosome. See, once again I am repeating the working of YAP. So these are the features of YAP. Already we have discussed. It is having your ORIC site of both bacteria as well as your yeast, and multiple clonic sequences of both yeast and bacteria is the same, and selectable markers for your bacteria, that is amplicin resistance and SUP4 gene of your yeast, as well this is the same construction of your shuttle vector. As well, added to that, telomeric sequences are also present. This is generally used for stability of any chromosome in eukaryote. It stabilizes any gene in your eukaryote, isn't it? For stability purpose. Any chromosome in eukaryote. So that is the importance of telomeric sequence. Next are stuffer gene, stuffer DNA. So when this yak is treated with BAM-H1 enzyme, so there is a breakage over here, cleavage of here. So then your stuffer DNA molecule is removed. So this is your linear form yak. So this linear form yak with a sub4 gene and a multiple cloning sequence, when it is treated with your restriction to nucleases, then your restriction to nucleus will go and cleave over here. So this is your stuffer DNA molecule is removed, isn't it? So now this linear form of your yak is treated with multiple cloning with your restriction to nucleus. Besides to this, sub4 gene is overlapping on your multiple cloning sequence. Now here your target DNA molecule will go and add here. So this is how your sub4 gene is totally disrupted, and here your target DNA molecule is added. And as well, we have already discussed, yak can carry your DNA molecule of around 200 to 2000 kb. So this is the important application of yak. So after insertion of your target DNA molecule in your yak, then it should be get easily transformed in your host organism. So here the host organism is yeast. So for easy propagation, for easy transformation, the yeast, as yeast cell is very hard, this yeast cell should be treated for electroporation. So when it is treated for electric shock, so the cell wall is open and your target DNA molecule can easily propagated in your host organism, that is yeast. So when this host organism is carrying your chimeric DNA molecule, that is vector DNA plus rDNA molecule, sorry, your target DNA, when it is left for several colonies, two colors are observed, that is red color colonies and white color colonies. Red color colonies indicates that presence of target DNA molecule in your yeast. White color colonies indicates that particular yeast is not having your target DNA molecule, that is a gene of interest. How this red color is observed? Because this target DNA molecule, when it will go and sit on your sub4 gene, then this sub4 gene is totally disrupted. It won't show any red color. So it cannot be, red color cannot be suppressed. Hence red color indicates your target DNA molecule is easily transformed in your yeast, hence absence of sub4 gene. And white color colonies indicates presence of sub4 gene, means no target DNA molecule is present. So this is the working and features of your yak. So there are so compared to BAC, that is bacterial artificial chromosome, yak is totally unstable. So this is the main disadvantage of yak. Yak is totally unstable. Hence most probably in your rDNA technology, in your genetic engineering experiments, BAC is generally used when compared to yak. Moreover, BAC can carry only little bit sized DNA molecules of around 200 kilobases, and when compared to your yak, it can carry 200 to 2000 kilobases of DNA. Generally, yak is used in transgenic animals, and in preparation of genomic library.